But anyway, guys, today's video topic, like I said in the intro, is going to be concerning the 4 different generations of Godzilla's Toho films. And yes, indeed, they have their own names and distinctions, and they are from set time periods, so they all have their different traits that they come along with. But without further ado, let's just jump right into it with Godzilla's first generation of films, which encompasses everything from the first original classic in 1954 Gojira up until the 15th Godzilla film, The Terror of Mechagodzilla, made in the late 70s, known as the Showa period. And guys, the Showa period is the granddaddy of the entire set because it is the first 15 set of Godzilla films, which, like I said, spanned the 50s till the late 70s before it took a brief hiatus and everything. And the thing about it is the total cheesy 60s, 70s vibe, at least for the most part. I mean, the first couple entries, Godzilla and Godzilla Raids Again, were played very seriously, and they were in black and white. But after that, including King Kong vs. Godzilla and on, it all went downhill from there, depending on who you ask. And one of the distinguishing factors of the Showa period themselves is the fact that Toho recycled the same actors for like every single film, but yet they weren't playing the same people. I gotta tell you, it's a little jarring to watch those old films, and then you got the same people who were different people in the last film, and then there are other people in another film, or the film after that. Yeah, the consistency really wasn't key there, especially in the looks of Godzilla. I feel like he got progressively more and more noticeable as just a guy in a random suit. And the quality of the suit definitely diminished, much like the tone of the character, like I said, because he became more kid-friendly towards the end. And honestly, guys, this generation of Godzilla films, it's like the 70s Batman show. You know, they had some campy moments, they had a lot of weird random action. There was a kind of a dip in quality and storyline tones as it went on. And overall, guys, this is the Godzilla that your grandparents or your parents watched. And, you know, myself, I'm going back and collecting all the films, so I'm clearly watching it. Reviews coming later. But the thing about it is that is the distinctive traits. The guy in the rubber giant monster suit fighting other guys in giant rubber monster suits. And it looks cheesy, and a lot of the special effects were dated. If any set of movies deserved a George Lucas makeover, a la Star Wars The Original Trilogy, I'd say these are the films, but more appropriately, I would say that they should go the Star Trek Original Series route, which was perfectly done because they ended up making the effects tailored to look like the 70s show itself, but they just cleaned it up and everything from the masters of the original series. And if they did that with this, that would make a sweet box set that a collector like myself would definitely dig. But moving on, people, we are going to take a look at the second and my personal favorite of the entire Godzilla series, known as the Heisei period. And this was Godzilla's return to form, which started with 1984's Godzilla, or The Return of Godzilla, and then it ended in 1994-1995 with Godzilla vs. Destroyer. And this set of films has the bragging rights of being the only linear-based films consistently. And the whole entire generation of films actually takes place in the same timeline, not jumbling around and doing random stuff. Yes, of course, the Showa period had little bits where they did continue on, but in bad ways where they just recycled the same actors, but they came back as different people. But like I said, the Heisei period is where he returned to his true roots, where he was a force of nature and everything. And I fondly remember watching the marathon of all these Godzilla films, except for the 1984 and Biollante one, I think, on Sci-Fi numerous times. These are my Godzilla generation fan films right here, for me personally, and I really enjoyed how they did it because not only did they kind of contribute to different things within the series, they also gave good callbacks for those who are less experienced with the entire series. And honestly, guys, if you're just getting into Godzilla, I would highly recommend you watching these sets of film first. But overall, like I said, guys, this film series had the bragging rights to be the most consistent and most linear, most notably with the fact of the matter that they had this one recurring character known as Mickey. And if you want to know a little bit more about her, I did allude to her in my last video, which I talk about the new character played by Millie Bobby Brown, Madison Russell, and how I think she kind of resembles Mickey to a certain degree, at least how it's being foreshadowed, or maybe I'm just thinking crazy. Who knows? But go and check that video out. So beyond that, after that one was done, this was originally meant to kill off the Godzilla character in general, because 1995's Godzilla vs. the Destroyer ended with that Godzilla dying from some type of nuclear reaction where he basically had a meltdown. And the thing about that is a few short years later is when we actually got the first attempt at making Godzilla for American audiences with Roland Emmerich and Matthew Broderick's film of the same title. Took drastic changes and everything, made Godzilla an iguana, and even though it made a good hefty amount of money at the box office, it's not what we were looking for as far as an adaptation. And it's kind of funny though, is they got this concept kind of wrong, but they had been shopping around the Godzilla film for quite some time in Hollywood, but to no avail until, like I said, the first attempt, which was 1998's Godzilla starring Matthew Broderick. But moving past that, that abomination on the screen is the reason why we have the third series of the Godzilla franchise, which is known as the Millennium series, and arguably the most disjointed. But like I said, this one started with Godzilla 2000 and then ended with Godzilla Final Wars a short 5 years later from that specific first film. But I have to do a full disclosure, guys. Of all the films that I've seen for Godzilla, the Millennium series is the one that I have seen the least from. And I really don't know too much about those specific film entries other than what I've heard and whatnot. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to checking out Final Wars, because that's the one that was supposed to be the end-all be-all of Godzilla films, because they threw everything and the kitchen sink into that 2004 entry before ending the series for another 10 years. And in that respect, another 10 years actually with regards to the next entry, which was 2014's Godzilla, but 12 years when you consider Toho's next film, which was Shin Godzilla. And with Shin Godzilla brought us our fourth and final generation, which is the current generation. And Shin Godzilla was a complete reboot of the character in general, and honestly, guys, they did a lot with that character as far as taking liberties, which surprises me because usually the Toho films really try to stay true to what the character harkened back to, especially design-wise. Godzilla looked freaking scary in this entry. I'm not even going to get around it. He looked scary, he looked crazy, and he kind of went through different evolutions, which was unique to see in a Godzilla film in general. There was a lot of talking and subtext about how incompetent delegating governments can be and whatnot, and there really wasn't a lot of Godzilla on the screen, but when he was on the screen, he was definitely a terror, to say the least. According to Toho Studios, they're not focusing on a direct sequel to that specific film as of just yet. They're actually thinking of doing another MonsterVerse and probably updating characters like Rodan, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Batra, Anguirus, and so on and so forth. But guys, there you have it. Those are the 4 generations of the Godzilla films. In case you didn't know, now you know. And if you thought I glossed over something or needed some more explanation for something in a later video, please leave a comment down below. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I always appreciate it, and thank you for watching my video. And guys, if you are subscribed to me, make sure you hit that bell button. That way you never miss a video. Well guys, that's all the time that I have for today. I appreciate it as always, and until next time guys, take care. Bye.